interesting facts about famous people.
US presidents. What's their favorite movies? I know this is one of those questions that's been keeping you up at night, so I thought today I'd put this one to rest. And not surprisingly, westerns are in the results amongst some other surprising films. Love them or hate them, this is not a political video, just an insight into their favourite flicks. If you enjoy this video, hit the notification button to get my new videos. If you want to check out my many other videos, head over to my channel. The link is in the description. Let's get into it. Franklin Delano Roosevelt, Mickey Mouse. FDR was president during one of the most troubling periods in US history, the Great Depression. Movies were an escape from reality then, just as they are now. Roosevelt often watched Mickey Mouse cartoons while in office. On a side note, he also adored Myrna Loy, so much so, it is rumoured he wanted to postpone the Yalta Conference in order to finally meet her when she made it to the White House. Harry Truman, My Darling Clementine. With Truman, a trend started. Many presidents had a love for westerns. In Truman's case, it was My Darling Clementine, with Henry Fonda. It was said that Truman had a connection to the film, as he and Fonda were both plain speakers.
Ma'am, I sure like that name, Clementine.
Dwight Eisenhower, High Noon. Eisenhower was a lover of movies, having watched about 200 in the White House's private theatre during his 8 years in office. While he watched a lot of movies, westerns were his favourite, and one that topped Eisenhower's list was High Noon, with Gary Cooper and Grace Kelly. This won't be the last time you hear this in this video. John F. Kennedy, John Wayne and James Bond. JFK is famously associated with Marilyn Monroe, but when it comes to actually watching movies, he preferred John Wayne and Randolph Scott, among others. Some of his favourite movies were The Longest Day, Roman Holiday, Spartacus, Bad Day at Black Rock, and Iwo Jima. JFK also had a huge passion for Bond. While he was suffering from back problems in 1955, he was given a copy of Casino Royale, Ian Fleming's first Bond novel. While in office, he had a private screening of Dr. No, and in a documentary called Everything or Nothing, JFK is quoted saying, "I wish I had had James Bond on my staff." Lyndon B. Johnson, himself, and The Searchers. LBJ wasn't an avid movie fan. Oddly, the only film he seemed to watch, and watch a lot, was a 10-minute short made about him, narrated by Gregory Peck, to introduce him to the country after JFK's assassination. However, it's also been said he enjoyed The Searchers. Richard Nixon, Patton and Yankee Doodle Dandy. One of the most controversial presidents, loved a biographical film about a controversial World War II hero. Nixon would rave about Patton to anyone who would listen and urge everyone to watch it. On a very different and musical note, Nixon also enjoyed James Cagney's fun turn in Yankee Doodle Dandy. Gerald Ford, Home Alone. Like Truman, Ford was not an avid movie fan, but his favourite film was Home Alone, a selection you probably never would have guessed, especially since it didn't come out until years after he left the presidency. But you can't really argue with a choice like that. Jimmy Carter, from All the President's Men to Midnight Cowboy. Unlike Ford, Carter was a huge film buff. According to the White House Museum, he held 480 screenings at the White House over 4 years, one every 3 nights on average, and more films than Reagan watched in his 2 terms. Hilariously, one of the first films he screened was All the President's Men, which is the film that centers on the plot that helped him get into office. Interestingly, he also became the first president to watch an X-rated film, Midnight Cowboy, in the family theater. Ronald Reagan, High Noon, It's a Wonderful Life, The Sound of Music, and his own films. Reagan was a well-known actor before he became president, but he wasn't always watching his own films in the White House theater. That was only on special occasions like his birthday. His favorites of his own roles were Knute Rockne, All American, and King's Row. Reagan also enjoyed the hits High Noon, It's a Wonderful Life, and The Sound of Music. The latter is credited as being the reason he once didn't study his briefing book. George H.W. Bush, Viva Zapata. Bush Sr. wasn't very vocal about his favourite films, but he liked Viva Zapata enough to name his oil company, Zapata Corporation, after it. It's also reported he enjoyed The Longest Day.
This man is a criminal. You are making yourselves liable for his crime. What are you trying to do?
We are here, my captain.
Bill Clinton, High Noon, and Casablanca. In 2008, Bill Clinton did an interview to talk about all things cinematic. In the interview, he followed Eisenhower's and Reagan's footsteps in citing High Noon as his favourite movie. I don't get tired of seeing it, and said Casablanca is his second favourite. In law school, he and Hillary created a fictitious case around the characters of Casablanca. He also gave high regards to Meryl Streep, Mel Brooks, and American Beauty. But nothing really compares to his love of High Noon, which he reportedly screened a record 17 times at the White House. George W. Bush, Field of Dreams. George W. Bush followed How I Met Your Mother's bro code to a T and cried during Field of Dreams, but he also enjoyed the mindless humour of Mike Myers' Austin Powers character. After 9/11, he began watching films that reflected the times, such as We Were Soldiers and Black Hawk Down. Barack Obama, The Godfather Part 1 and Part 2. Obama has a lot of pop culture favourites, but as far as films go, The Godfather tops his list. He said 1 and 2, 3 not so much. That saga, I love that movie. Later, he said that Lawrence of Arabia and Casablanca also rank highly. Who doesn't like Casablanca, he said. Donald Trump, Citizen Kane, The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly, The Godfather, Goodfellas, and Gone with the Wind. Donald Trump was involved in pop culture long before he joined politics. He made tons of cameos and, of course, spearheaded the Apprentice franchise. Beyond his own work, he also favours Citizen Kane, The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly, The Godfather, Goodfellas, and Gone with the Wind.
How dare you? You aren't fit to wipe his boots.
Joe Biden, Hugh Hudson's 1981 sports drama, Chariots of Fire. Chariots of Fire is, I think, probably my favourite movie, he said over a decade ago, going on to tell why the story struck him as something special. The truth of the matter is that there is a place where someone puts personal fame and glory behind principles. That to me is the mark of real heroism. When someone would do that, at the end of the day, Chariots of Fire is a story about staying true to your convictions, even if it means abandoning the perks that come with being in the history books. Thank you for your time today. I hope you enjoyed the video. Let me know what you think in the comments. I appreciate likes and subscribers. Hit the notification bell to get my new videos. Take a look at my channel. The link is in the description. Bye for now. See you again soon.
Interesting facts about famous people.